Call to order this select board meeting, July 11th, 2024. Following rest of the meeting. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
And we call the roll.
I will. Roland.
Here.
Marie Gray.
Here.
Ann Callahan. Here. And Holmes.
Here.
Matt Nixon. And the town manager. So at the table.
Town manager.
We are happy to report, as of today, we now have sidewalk in front of 104 Main Street. It was just paved. And so now we have nice pedestrian connectivity all the way from 196 down to the credit union on this side of the street. On the 30th of this month, the Energy Committee is having a public workshop on starting to work on our climate action plan from 6:30 to 8 in this room. And they're looking for people to come and give input into the proposed plans or things you'd like to see in the plan or wouldn't like to see in the plan. August 6th, our public safety and Parks and Rec and the library are all getting together again. They have National Night Out. They'll be out at Forsyth Field from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. The past couple of years, we've had about 300 people attend. They also have a dunk tank. So if anyone would like to volunteer for that, I'm sure they'll take volunteers. And they'll have K9 demonstrations and fire trucks and police cars. And last year they had light too. So I'm sure there'll be some other surprises. And then the last thing ongoing throughout this month and through the 8th of August is CPIC, Comprehensive Plan Implementation Committee, is hosting what we call Coffee with Recode. So it's a small group opportunities to come in, talk about the code, get more information, ask questions, give input. We've been putting it on the sign as they come up. It's also on our website, has the dates, and they're on the front hallway where we've got the posters. So we encourage people to come in and learn more about the recode process. That's all I've got.
Any questions? Next up, board and committee reports. We are done. Public comment. Hello, Aaron.
Good evening. Is this on?
Yes.
50 Granite Hill Drive. I'm here to support Tony Gonzalez for the position on the school. I think she's going to be an excellent person there, given her history of working with kids, kind of in a conflict resolution here, her position between parents, authorities, and the kids. Her commitment to running again in November when this is over. I don't think you're going to do any better, and I do hope that she has your vote. Thank you.
Anything online?
Hi, Robin Brooks, 47 Ivanhoe Drive. And I'm a former employee of NSAD 75. I retired in 2020, elementary art teacher, and I had a 40-year career in education. I just want to urge you to choose a candidate who's really a child kid who understands collaboration. We have a very big board, as you know, 4 towns, and we really need collaborative, consensus kind of people on the board who really can work together in, for the benefit of the teachers and the children in the homeless buildings. And there's so much diversity now in our communities. In what children bring to the table. The opioid epidemic, we have a lot of, growing special ed population. I've gotten to know Tony a little bit, Tony Gonzalez. And she has a social work background. She understands children. She seems like a real team player, and I just think she'd be a fabulous addition to her. To support her candidacy. Thanks so much.
Any other comments? Okay. Moving on, correspondence. Anyone receive anything?
I think we all received the same ones. There were just 6 letters in support of specific candidates for the school board.
I think you might have also had the letter from the owner of Higher Living, making the same request that you had from to have retail marijuana.
I did not get it. Oh, no, it's in the, oh, okay. Thank you.
So you've got it.
All right.
Leave upstairs. All right, just some general.
We just,
It's approval of the minutes of the regular select board meeting of June 30th, 2024.
I have a correction. Philip Davis was here, the Director of Emergency Management, and there's, it says, Mr. Davis said RAID is the new Smart 911, but he does not recommend using Smart 911. And that really needs to be that it is replacing Code Red. It's not the new 911 because RAID is integrated with the Smart 911 system together. It's the same thing, so it's not replacing it, it's replacing Code Red. So my recommendation just says, Mr. Davis said, RAID is replacing the Code Red system. He does not recommend using the Smart 911 app, not the system itself, but the app.
All right, do we have a motion to accept the minutes?
I make a motion that we accept the minutes as amended.
Second. For the second, all in favor? Motion carries.
Abstaining. Michelle.
He wasn't here.
That's right. Public hearing none, finished business none, business none. On a new business, item 2453, consideration of any appropriate action to select board chair, sign a letter to the Bureau of, excuse me, alcoholic beverages, requesting that it issue an additional agency liquor license to Topsham businesses.
Do you have, specific names of businesses that are going to be used, or is it just?
actually, if you want, I'll do some introduction.
Okay.
So, met with the owner, made a new manager of Market Basket, and he asked what they would need to do to get an agency liquor store from town, and said, I don't think anything, but let me look into it. So I checked in the state regulations, and the state actually issues the agency liquor stores, not the town. The town has to elect that they want agency liquor stores, which we did years ago. And then the state usually sets the licenses by the population. So there's 4 licenses, because Topsham has less than 10,000 people, there's 4 licenses allocated to Topsham. Currently, those are held by Hannaford Bootleggers, the Circle K, that's the Irving station, and Walgreens. And so I passed that information on to Market Basket. Some people in their company talked to the state, and they were told that if the town thought that it wanted an additional license or was needed, that's something that the municipal officers could inform the state. The state would take that into account and determine if they wanted to issue an additional license. And then if they did, the state would choose who got it. I socialized the issue with Topsham Development Inc. They said that they thought the town could benefit from an additional license because most people are used to finding an agency liquor store when they go to a significant sized grocery store. So in this particular case, Market Basket is certainly a significant sized grocery store, and it would be convenient for the public. So they thought it would be a good idea to request it.
So how many additional licenses are you going to request?
It'd be up to you. I didn't put a set number in the letter, just said that you wanted additional, but we could change it to put a set number if you only wanted to ask for 1 more. So that's up to you. And so, here present.
I was just gonna say, it would make sense if we think that there are gonna be other agencies that want to do this, that we do the request in a higher number, but lower number, than having to go through this process again.
And my thought was not to give a specific number. When I drafted the letter, I gave a specific number to leave it to the state's discretion.
Okay,
So that if they thought Topsham should have 2, they could do 2, or if they thought should have 1.
Okay.
I figured I didn't want to tie the state's hands one way or the other,
that's a good idea.
but we can certainly put a number in if you chose. We have tonight, Market Basket's counsel, Carmen is here, as well as the manager of the local store, Keith, and they're happy to address the issue, and if you'd like to come forward and say anything.
Thanks, Mark. So Carmine Tomas, development, part of the development team for Mark here, and it's open. wanted to just have an opportunity to address the board. I think first things first, on behalf of Market Basket and the whole development team, we spend so much time planning and doing the permitting and thinking about locations and doing the transaction. And then it's wonderful to see a store open up and see the reception that we've gotten from the town and from the community. It has been phenomenal. It's been fantastic. And, we really wanted to thank the select board, Mark and his staff, planning board, and really all the members of the town. It's just been such a tremendous success for us. It's obviously always exciting to be able to open a new market, but this is really a pretty special place for us. So in such a short time. So thank you for that. As Mark mentioned, one of the things that we've been asking about is trying to get an agency license for our supermarket. It's something that, as Mark mentioned, is something that people tend to expect when they go to grocery stores in Maine. Market Basket's locations in Bedford and Westbrook also have agency licenses, as well as Hannaford. And so for us, it's really a matter of being able to serve the customers and give the community what they would like. One point I would make on the question that came up about the number, I believe the legislation only allows for the state to issue one additional license. So it sounds like you may just ask not put a number in there anyway. I think the state can only issue one additional. So if a town like Topsham is allowed 4 licenses for up to 10,000, they can only grant one additional license. And then my understanding, as Mark mentioned again, is that the state would then solicit applications and then review. So we understand there's no guarantee that Market Basket can get it, but we sure love the opportunity, and we'd appreciate the select board's support in that. That's really all I have to say right now. Also with me tonight is Keith Pusey, who's the manager of Market Basket, and I'd just like to invite him to say just a couple words as well. Won't take up too much of your time, but Keith, thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Keith Busey. I've met some of you. I'm the manager, the director of the Market Basket here in Topsham. Want to thank everyone here for all their support, getting the store up and running. He said a lot of the things I was going to say. The customer reactions from the town people is exceptional. They're very, very happy. You're talking about population and liquor license and stuff. I don't know the exact population of Townsend, but I do know that I have about 30,000 customers every week. A lot of them are asking for liquor. Why do I have to go to Hannaford? Why do I got to go to Walmart to get liquor? Why can't we have one-stop shopping here in town? So that was my point of view. I just want to level a fair playing field. My competition can sell alcohol, and I have 30,000 customers looking for it. I should be able to sell it too. So I'm not going to chew your ears off. I just appreciate the opportunity to say my piece and thank everybody for allowing us to open a store. It's been a great success. And thank you to all of you. I appreciate it. I'm getting married. Thanks.
Any other comments?
Any questions?
I do. I have a few, just some thoughts I've been thinking about. In relation to substances in general, we typically limit them for a reason. Limit cannabis in this town, and we recently just voted to not bring that back. We have currently 4 businesses that have liquor licenses in this town. To increase a license with just allowing it that much easier to get substances, which can completely be an issue in this town as well. As much as one-stop shopping is great, supporting other businesses that are in this town that were established previous is also great. It's kind of the same reasons why we chose the things we did with cannabis. And cannabis and alcohol I see very similar in the aspect of the way it is a substance, the way it is used and abused, and just not having it everywhere. I know I can go in every store almost, and we're talking about liquor here, but in every store here, I can go buy beer. I can go buy cigarettes. I see every substance everywhere I go. It's not necessarily a bad thing to not see it when I go into a store. I don't know, I've been in Market Basket once, it was a complete mess because there was just so many people that are flying through that store in and out, so I didn't really explore. I didn't walk down to see if there was a beer aisle or not, but I do believe, you know, they sell beer, that's a convenience that they can have. I don't know if I support it yet. I just think that when we're talking about substances and the ability to abuse substances, I take caution.
Any questions? All right, do you have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we authorize the select board chair to sign a letter to the Bureau of Alcohol Beverages requesting that it issue an additional agency license.
Second. Moving seconded. Favor? Motion carries. Thank you.
You didn't ask for,
Oh, sorry. Yeah, yeah.
thank you.
What's that? Yeah. Just give me the other one. Okay, next item, 2454, consideration of any appropriate action to move forward with the sale of two vehicles.
We've got, two cars that we pretty much run into the ground and we're ready to get rid of out of the town fleet. One was a 2006 Mazda that we only got one bid for $500. And we had a 2017 police cruiser, but the highest bid was $5,077. And the chief would like permission to sell both cars to high bidders.
Did we not get the permission last meeting for this, or was it just to post that?
That was to post it.
Quick, how broad is the availability of these vehicles broadcast? I find it really hard given saying the body is $500. Like, I kind of feel like it's not getting out much as it should be.
I think on that particular car, it's the condition of it. If it's very, yeah, high miles, but almost 20 years old.
Still probably 20-year-old, 200,000 mile truck.
I'd say our best place we get, we have it in this Facebook. You know, we put it on the town webpage. We don't buy newspaper ads because we probably,
More expensive than the bid.
exactly. So, yeah, Facebook, town word of mouth, town website, things like that.
Is that consistent with what Brunswick?
Yeah, from my time in Brunswick. Used to be years ago in Brunswick, we had some taxi companies up in Chicago that we would send the police cruisers to and they'd want the old crap mix. But now, of course, taxis have pretty much been run out of business by ride sharing stuff that they're not around.
We have a motion?
But you do have the right, if you wanted to reject this and tell us to re-advertise, we did put in the thing that.
Move that we allow the chief to proceed with accepting the highest bid for the month. The
Second,
Moving second, all in favor? Unanimous. Item 2455, consideration and any appropriate action to vote for Justin Hennessy and Mark Myers as District 24 representatives, to the Maine Municipal Legislative Policy Committee.
So moved.
second,
Moving second. Unanimous. Consideration and any appropriate action to authorize the town manager to execute the proposed memorandum of agreement regarding streetlight electricity reimbursement with Oak Hill Condominium Owners Association.
So Granite Hill Road is now a public road. When it was built, it was a private actually, there's two different condominium complexes on the road. When the road was accepted as, portions of it were accepted as a public through street, but we didn't take the side streets. We found out when we were converting our lights to LEDs, that there were actually 5 lights on the side streets that were on our electric bill. So we did not convert those lights. And then we've been working, there's been a few other lights in town too, we've been working to get off our bill and since they're not on public streets. when the Oak Hill Condominium Association contacted CMP to take care of those four lights, they found out it was gonna be, just as they said, about $10,000 to convert the lights over to their own account. Because CMP would have to switch out the equipment with lights that they use, and between labor, materials, and everything else, they said it was that much. The association said, you know, is there any way we could just reimburse you for the cost of electricity and keep things as they are? So we looked at our bills, and we have one separate bill that's for the Granite Hill, all the 5 lights that are private and the R15 public. We prorating it, it comes out to be at the rates that were over this winter, about $120, what it costs the town for electricity per year for those lights. They said they're happy to have some extra cushion in there, because obviously rates gonna go up during the year, and also there's some effort involved in sending a bill and collecting the money. So we talked about having a total of $220.06, which is basically electricity costs plus $100 cushion. The agreement, as you saw, can be terminated by either party. The other benefit for the town is that since we converted to LED lights, we have more credits than we can use from our solar farms. Because when we subscribed to electricity, it was based on our electric needs at the time. Ours had gone down. So we have trouble using some of our credits before they expire. So this would help us monetize some of the credits that we might otherwise not even be able to use. So that's the benefit to the town for doing this, and the benefit of the homeowner association is save that cost. Have to switch the lights over.
Is this gonna be an ongoing type of contract with the association? I feel like it's smart because $10,000 just seemed absurd to rechange things back the way they were. But I feel like is this something that we'll end up doing? The homeowners association is just gonna check every year for the rest of whatever.
We could at any point say, we don't want this to continue, but that's good day.
Okay.
So there's a notice period in there, but it's relatively short.
I mean, the intent behind it right now is for the foreseeable future.
Right.
I'm happy with this, as long as we don't have a dollar amount in it. I want them charged exactly what we're paying. I want to just like CMP checks are reading up once a year. I don't want to cut it off.
I think we want more than we're paying, because we do have some
Yeah,
administrative costs
so
involved.
$100 on top, plus whatever.
So,
I want it, because I mean, it's gonna be over $200 probably by next year. The way rates are right now. You'd be raking in money.
So, if the board isn't generally in agreement with that, which we do when the motion's made, we just say that authorize the contract with the exception that you want it to be actual plus $100.
sense.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't also heard CMP rates are going down this fall. I've started seeing a decline in electricity bills in my facility.
Not me.
Just saying, so, I mean, it could be beneficial to them as well, if we did actual amount, is what I'm getting at. Either way, we don't want to burn anybody. We want to make sure that we're fair across the board. I think the cushion of $100 is more than enough, but keeping it actual is great because that could keep the relationship positive. If it does become less, or if it does become more, they should be responsible for that. I agree with you.
And the other thing that's clear in the agreement, and they understand, is that we're not doing any repairs on the lights, so they'll be getting those done on their own.
Okay. Do you have a motion?
I make a motion that we allow the town manager to execute the proposed memorandum of agreement regarding streetlight electricity reimbursement with Oak Hill Condominium Owners Association in the amount of actual cost plus $100 administrative fee.
Second.
Moving second, all in favor? Motion carries unanimous. Next, 2457, consideration of any appropriate action to appoint an interim seat on the SAV 75 board until the November election. So tonight we interviewed 4 very good candidates. I don't think that's the first time we've had attention for an appointed seat. It was great. It just shows we commitment to this community, and it's wonderful to see folks that make a change.
I still feel pretty strongly about voting at Annalise because she had 21 votes, so we've received letters for other people in the amount of 5, 6, or even last time 20. But that's no comparison to the 1521 that she's obtained. She went through the effort of running, even though she didn't make it the first time. I would still like to make a motion to appoint Annalise on the school board for the vacant position.
I would second that.
Moving and seconded. All in favor? We have a motion.
I will, can we have a conversation?
Did you write down the vote?
Yeah,
In sitting through these four, I thought there was two standouts. I thought Sandy, the first interview we had, she seems like a great fit. She had great answers, and although nothing really stood out per se. I do think being an educator in the district was a huge plus for me. I liked her demeanor. I liked the answers about listening and carrying them in mind. I also thought Annalise was a standout. She speaks well. She had great answers. And there was something that stood out to me because I think it exemplifies kind of what I was voting for when I voted for her just now. But she said no to the answer of should people have background checks. I disagree with it wholeheartedly. However, she's not wrong. And in a public position that's voted in, it's a taxpayer position, I feel like she's probably right. I mean, I don't like that, but it's the exact reason why I think Annalise would have been a great fit, because having an eclectic board or some sort of eclectic mind to garner all the different angles stands out to me. And I think it's important that we do have those important discussions, whether we agree with them or not, because sometimes we don't think about the things that we're so vehemently against to begin with. So to have those viewpoints sometimes stands out. And that was just something that stood out to me. But those two were the individuals that stood out to me the most in tonight's interviews.
I have some comments too. In light that Annalise was not voted in, I'm shying away from Philip because he doesn't seem like he's really wanting to move forward with this, and I'd like to see someone get in that's going to want to move forward. Sandy had some good things to say also. She was concerned about the impact on taxpayers. I thought that's the first time I've heard that in a long time. She wanted to build a cohesive. She would stick with her decisions and not, one of the questions about asked, and not say who she disagrees with on social media. She also said that she wants to take her lead from the administrators and the team, that she feels like the board is really stable, and she can see the other person's view, and she's concerned with safety. And then Tony, if I can call her name, okay, she has the background of social worker. She says we don't know all of the programs. She's opposed to banning books. She wants kids to have critical thinking. She's focused. She wants to focus on being dedicated to both the students and families. She said one thing that was really cool. She said it would be a pleasure to serve the town. So when she asked if she wanted to do it again, and again, she said it was going to be an honor to serve in her greatest reward. She's excited about working with kids. Her current job doesn't allow that. She wants to be transparent and not pretend, will be honest, and not everyone's going to agree with you. So I support either Sandy or Tony myself with the keynotes.
I have to agree. With Ann, I think having someone who's a little more dedicated, or at least a little more familiar with what's going on at the school board right now would be beneficial. I think I'm leaning slightly in Tony's direction because she was, I mean, she understands principles, values, morals. She seems like a straight shooter and she's tough, especially the HHS during the previous administration. To work. And Obviously, there's a lot of issues right now going around the state in terms of child death. Yeah. So being able to get through that, some of us can't even imagine. That makes you uniquely qualified for the spot. And I also feel like she'd be fairly direct, at least just from listening to her just now, beating around the bush, which is also a quality I can embrace the part of ours like that.
One thing we have to keep in mind too is it's wonderful when people have backgrounds, but we do have counselors in the school system. We do have principals. We do have a superintendent. And the school board doesn't fill those roles. People in positions that can take action against bullying, setting policy, yes. She's not gonna, I don't know how much she's gonna be hands-on with the kids, but establishing policy would be better.
Well, it's also the budget as well. I've asked this question multiple times during the budget session. Right now, they do not have sufficient counseling in schools, like, and I think there needs to be more interest. Sure that need is met. You keep one counselor, say 3 schools, like teachers, my daughter's teacher, my father's teacher, I, there are 4 stories of the weight loss become.
But her role would not be to counsel.
No,
Her role would be to provide policy and
funding,
funding.
that's the big one. All right,
Anybody else?
any other questions?
I agree with Matt.
I'm just curious before a motion is made, if I could just hear from every member of the board if they're leaning towards Sandy or Tony, in your view.
I think a bipartisan, really, I think both of those individuals would do a great job. There's no, I think there's a wrong answer in either of those two. I think there was a wrong answer with anybody that was coming tonight, honestly. But I do think there's not gonna be a wrong answer with that. I like the candor that Tony speaks with. I like the directness. I like the firmness, although on the flip side of that, I do find that can be potentially hard with some of the individuals that are constantly talking as parents or adults that are behind the mic. And as a public servant, it is important that we listen more than we react. Because if we can ignore that emotion that people speak with and hear the words, I think listening is a key factor and not necessarily about being right or wrong or this is the way it is. So I think there's pluses and minuses to that. And the same thing with Sandy. I thought Sandy was very soft spoken. I thought she did a great job of answering her questions. And although that can be the same thing, if we look on the other side of the coin, does that mean that she's not going to be able to tolerate when people are screaming down her throat? Because that has happened in the past. Although having gone to all the school board meetings last school year, I did not see that as the case. I did not see that happen. I think things are getting better. I think the tumultuous kind of energy that the school board faces on a regular is not regular anymore. I'm hoping to see that continue to decline. And for that, either of these two candidates would serve well.
Do you have a preference, Mary? Tony? Roll?
Oh, we're gonna have to vote in the minutes.
Okay. Well, it just makes a difference if the majority of people want a particular candidate and I'm hearing that now, then we would
Make the motion. for
make
that
a
person.
motion for that person and not for the other and have to vote no.
I move that we appoint Tony Gonzalez to SAD 75, for the next election.
Motion. Second, all in favor? Motion's unanimous. Unanimous. All right, final piece of business. 2458, consideration and appropriate action to Dan Catlin, Topsham Development Inc. Board.
So moved.
Second.
We'll get separate all for the events. Shut down our side.
I'd be happy to make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
Second.
Can I get your signatures before you go on the ballot?